from tonight's meeting, and I'm wondering, oh, thank you for recording. So Gail is recording the meeting. So Ellen is not able to attend tonight, and I'm wondering if I could get a kind volunteer to offer to take notes that once they type them up, all they need to do is, you know, it could just be in a Word document, and then they can send it to Gail and she can populate it in the fancy format that I can't think of the name of.
Yeah.
So, you know, feel free to unmute and volunteer. Please, someone.
I will do it.
Barbara, thank you very, very, very much. I appreciate that.
Let me just grab some paper here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
And Gail, while Barbara's doing that, can I just ask who are we missing? Just, and is anyone excused or, you know, or
Ellen and me are excused. I don't see Brian yet.
Okay.
Well, I think that's it. Oh, Beth, and here's Beth now.
Oh, perfect.
So Brian's, and I got Brian's here now. So it looks like we're all here.
Oh, you said Brian is here?
I think he just came on. Yep.
Perfect.
Yep.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hey, how are you? Barbara's going to take minutes for us, and we're just giving her a minute to get settled so she can.
I'm all set.
Oh, you are? Awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so it's 7:02. This is Rebecca Nash. I'm calling the meeting to order. Barbara, as far as who's not here, Ellen is excused, as is Mary. And then the rest of us are here. And would it be helpful if I just sort of walked through the names so you can jot them down?
We have a guest.
Oh, and is Kent here?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Oh, hi. We also have a guest, Kent Harding, and he is the new treasurer of the Bill Library Association. Kent, welcome. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Oh, here we go. I apologize. I was running into some challenges on getting this set up. So
no worries at all. We're getting started a little bit late anyhow, and so your timing's perfect.
well, it's a pleasure to join you folks. And the reason I asked Gail is that I've got, I believe, 3 of your investment funds that somehow or another I'm overseeing. So I'm looking for guidance and direction in terms of what you folks expect.
That's great.
25% return every year.
But, you know, no pressure whatsoever.
Pressure, no.
Let me know what hedge fund that you're in, and we can talk about it.
Well, let me just say that Ken has taken over the treasury duties for the Bill Library Association. And as you know, they are holding, as he said, 3 of our accounts. Library Commission funds from large donations, the Building Fund, and the William Holton Fund. So he wants to be a good steward of our funds, which is great. So I welcomed him to join our meeting and get to know all of you, and you get to know him.
Doesn't Bill have, don't you have an investment firm that recommends how to invest the money?
We're going through the same gentleman we've had, I gather from the data I've seen, started with the Dime Bank, Saul or Sal, I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, Sal.
With Jenny Montgomery Scott. And pretty much two of the funds are very conservatively invested. There, one is in strictly mutual funds, but the larger fund is in an actively managed stock portfolio. And that's doing very well. From what I can see, it's not doing as good as the S&P 500. But of course, the last couple of years, a blind man, drunk as could be, is going to do well in the stock market. It's gone very well. So there really isn't, from what I've seen, there isn't much advice. It's just that the direction, I gather that Sal has met with you folks and presented what the philosophy is. And I know in talking with him, he was interested in meeting again to go over that. But my impression is it's pretty much in his hands. We don't do active management of those funds. I guess that's the sense of the commission, right?
Correct. And it's been, I think, a couple of years since he talked to our group.
Is it worth scheduling another meeting just to, so to have him go over everything and have Ken, join that as well, so we can, sort of with new people, bring everyone up to speed, the new people on the commission, and also where we could be brought up to speed of where everything stands?
He's more than willing to talk to us whenever we want. If you want, I can schedule something with him in June and just hear what he has to say.
Gail, we had talked about, Sal and I had talked about a possible October get together after the summer period, and also with the expectation that the virus would be under much better control. Nothing's definite, but I just wanted to let you know that we had talked about that. And again, my confusion to a certain degree is these are principally your funds. The trustee funds are much smaller, very much smaller. So I don't know whether it just needs to be with the commission people or whether if it's be better with a joint meeting between the commission and the trustees. That's something that I could definitely need guidance on.
Well, I know he's talked with the trustees a number of times, and they really don't have much say in how the funds are used. So my recommendation would be to have it with the commission only.
I agree with that. Anyone? Yeah.
Question.
Yeah, Carol?
The building fund, which is the larger one, I believe, isn't that under the trustees as opposed to the commission, or is that one of ours also? Because they were handling that right along.
Right, but it is the commission who decides how it's used, and the association are holding the funds.
Right. And then we added the larger donations to a separate line of that.
And then the third one is the Bill Holton one. And the reason that that's a third one is there's a little bit of flexibility with that. We know that he wanted it to go towards a building fund, but we didn't want to have it just for the building fund if something else came along that we needed it for. So the idea is it would be great to have it added to the building fund donation at the time of an addition, but it's not a requirement. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes, that makes sense.
So, I mean, I think the October timeframe of meeting with the commission, and that way, Kent, I could be more than just a black box with a name, and we could all hopefully be in the same room. I don't have a camera, which is why it's not on. I apologize for that. But if Gail, do you happen to have the date of the October meeting somewhat handy, and maybe we could see if that timeframe would work for both Kent and Sal, or to meet and just get an update?
The association also meets in October. So would we be trying to have ours before theirs in case we need to give them guidance in their handling?
So the commission would meet on the 18th of October, and the Bill Library Association is October 28th, is the annual meeting.
So that time frame would work if there was a concern that we needed to bring forward, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So Kent, would you be the one responsible for checking in with Sal and seeing if that works, or is that something you would want us to do, or what's the best way to move forward?
No, that's fine. I'm more than happy. We can set it up, and if you don't object, I can go through Gail and pass on any of the information I find out. But right now, I'll tentatively.
Yeah, that would be fine with me.
Okay. So I'll go for 10/18 and have a conversation with Sal, and we'll go from there.
That's great. And was there anything that prior to then that you questions you had for us, or anything that we needed to address sooner? And I'm grateful that you wanted to be in, introduce yourself and make sure we knew that the change. That's great, and thank you for taking on the role. But yeah, were there any questions you had for us prior to October?
Well, yes and no. I'm going through a lot of documents that Nancy had, and I handicapped because I really don't have the history that she had. So the best thing is that I just keep peppering Gail when I need to. I think she has.
That's what we all do. I think it's the perfect thing. I'm not sure how Gail feels about this, but I do the exact same thing. So, no, Gail is the wealth of information and can keep it all straight.
So right now, no, I don't have any questions. And like I said, Gail's been a tremendous resource.
Oh, that does not surprise me at all. That's great. Are you comfortable staying through the rest of our meeting, or did you want to hop off the call, or whatever is best for you?
I'm really here at the pleasure of the commissioner, so
you're welcome to stay. I just want to make sure. All right, so pop in if you have any questions, but I'm just going to move through. I'm assuming, first of all, Barbara, thank you for doing the minutes. I assume you have the roll call. As far as, could I get a motion to approve the minutes of our prior meeting from April 19th?
So moved.
And perfect. So that was moved by John and seconded by Carol. Is there any discussion or corrections or comments? Go ahead and take that as everything set. All in favor of approving the minutes, please say aye.
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 This is Beth. I abstain. I wasn't here.
Okay, perfect. I'll say aye as well.
Aye.
Were there any no's? Sorry, this is the awkward part of Zoom, especially when I can't see all the little boxes. Okay, so the minutes are approved. with one abstention. As-
Rebecca, 2 abstentions. I
Oh,
wasn't
2
here either,
abstentions.
so-
Is this Cheryl?
It is, sorry, yeah.
Okay, that's okay, thank you. For some reason, I'm having trouble seeing everything today, so, okay. All right, so moving on, correspondence. Is there any?
No, there was none this month.
Perfect, and that makes that easier. So no correspondence. Carol, treasurer's report from April.
Okay, it was just a very straightforward one. There was one donation from Mary Jane Haddad, a thank you. And again, we have a month when the expenditures were not taken from the bank yet. So there's 0 on expenditures. There were things that were paid by the town, but it hasn't come out of our budget yet, and it will show up in combination with next month.
Anyone have any questions for Carol?
I wanted just to add that I spoke with Ian this morning, wondering about the borrow it funds, if he had gotten them yet, and he checked and emailed me back. They came in early April, but they haven't been posted to our account yet. So we'll have that. I think it's $1,639 added next month under the borrow it reimbursement.
Oh, that's great. Thank you.
Great, thank you.
So that was twice as much as we had budgeted. Am I
Yeah.
reading that right?
Yes, that's double what we've gotten in a long time for the borrow it funds. And I think
That's
it's
great.
because people weren't traveling to other libraries, basically. They were staying close to home.
Something good came out of the pandemic. Not that I would wish this again, but but that's great. All right, Carol, thank you for the report and for doing the work behind it. Gail, director's report.
Okay, let me just pull this up here. I prepared and have included a draft special fund budget that went into the town budget book. I will finalize the numbers in June when we're closer to the end of the fiscal year. Note, I included the ARPA grant funds under receipts and expenditures. At this point in time, our income is slightly below what was projected, and I adjusted expenditures accordingly. I do anticipate that we will be fairly close to the budgeted receipts. As I mentioned, the borrow it funds have come in, and we recently took in a $500 donation. So that will certainly boost our receipts before the end of the fiscal year.
Gail, with a huge apology, can I interrupt you for 1 second?
Sure.
And I just, Barbara, who stepped in to do the minutes, I just wanted to give you a heads up that Gail can cut and paste the entire report into the minutes. So don't feel like you have to scramble to get everything written down.
Thank you so much for that.
Yeah, no problem. It's information I should have given to Ellen, prior. So I just want to make sure I didn't make the same mistake with you. So, all right, thank you. And I apologize for the interruption, Gail.
Okay, no problem. And the library news, the ARPA grant. Our biggest news is the grant funds that are available to us through ARPA, which is the American Rescue Plan Act, and the State Library. The town requires that all grant applications be authorized by town council, and that was done at the May 12th town council meeting. We are eligible to receive $17,876, and I believe that I mentioned because it is federal money, there are specific requirements for using the funds. We are looking at items that will make it easy for patrons to access the Wi-Fi from outside the library, provide a hygiene screen between the public computers, update some software to help patrons filling out job application forms, and provide a way for patrons to have some privacy if they are conducting an online job interview on a public computer. We will use some of the funds for PPEs and plexi-screen dividers. And I'm also looking at a self-checkout station for Bill Library. The State Library is hosting several drop-in sessions for libraries to talk with each other about their ideas for using the funds, and this has been very beneficial. One of the really cool things that I think will go over well in our location is it's a solar-powered charging station. So imagine an umbrella with solar panels on top, and on the post are USB ports, and we're still trying to find out if there'll be an AC port as well, all charged up by the solar panels. And we've had people using our tables on the patio. We've had people sitting in their car using the Wi-Fi. And we think this will be a good addition for people who have gotten used to doing that. Now they can plug in their phone, plug in their laptop, and use the table on the patio for that reason. Under summer programs, as more people get vaccinated and things begin to open up, we're slowly moving towards in-person programs at the library. Stacy has planned several activities to be held outside during the summer, and some of the adult programs are also planned to be outdoors. The Cookbook Club hopes to meet outside in August, and the Senior Center has invited Elaine to begin the senior book discussions again. If the center is not open, they will meet outside at Erickson Park. And we've been getting a lot of requests for the meeting room at Bill. Based on new CDC guidelines and the opening up of state offices, I plan to open our meeting rooms on July 1st. And I thought maybe under new business, we can discuss the idea of going back to in-person library commission meetings, when we'd like to start. Would you want to meet outdoors at first or do a hybrid meeting in the meeting room? And again, we'll talk about that a little bit later. After I listened to the governor's speech last Thursday and the lifting of the guidelines for mask wearing by CDC, I think you all saw the email I mailed out that because patrons that are vaccinated now are going to start coming in without masks on, I don't want the staff to be in a position to argue with patrons about wearing them, asking them for proof that they've been vaccinating. I don't want to get into any of that. So our policy is going to be, if you've been vaccinated and you feel comfortable without a mask coming in, we're going to allow it. I think the staff, for the most part, are going to continue wearing masks. I'm only aware of one person on the staff who I know is not going to get vaccinated, and she has told me that she will wear her mask. For the outdoor programs, we will not require masks for people. And by opening up the meeting room, we now have the option of moving a program indoors if it rains, as opposed to canceling it. So there'll be some, benefits of doing this. And the building news, the grounds on the north side of Bell Library have been regraded and seeded. A large area had been dug up last fall for the installation of the propane tank. I am pleased to see this completed, as we will be using that area this summer for some of the outdoor programs. And one of the kind of interesting things that we're doing is we're going to be collaborating with Parks and Rec to show movies on the green. So we'll be using the library's license for the movies, and they're providing a person and all the equipment who will set it up and show the movie. So I'm kind of excited about that partnership. I've started to explore the possibility of adding a fiber connection to Gales Ferry Library for internet service. We have been using a cable connection with marginal results. The cost of the installation can be covered by the Universal Service Fund and then matched by the state library. We will be responsible for the annual maintenance and a monthly fee, with 50% of that covered through USF. At Bill, those costs are very low, but they may actually be substantially higher in Gales Ferry. So I'm going to have to decide on that once I get the quote. I was hoping to have it in time for the meeting tonight, but it didn't come through. It will depend on where the closest fiber hub is. And once I get that quote, I'll be able to realistically decide if it's something we could do. The only other thing I wanted to mention is we've scheduled a program on June 15th. I was asked if we knew anybody who could do a program on Robert's Rules. And I put the question out on the listserv and almost immediately got a response from a person who runs the town meetings. I think it's Columbia. He's a certified parliamentarian, and he's going to do a program for us on Zoom, June 15th at 7:00 p.m., how to run a meeting. And I believe Roxanne at Town Hall is going to send out an invite to all the town committees and commissions who might be interested in that. And he's basically going to cover the basics of what you need to know to effectively run a meeting. And I think, Rebecca, you do a fine job. So.
Of course, I'm sitting here like, oh, I'm going to find out everything I'm doing wrong.
No.
But that's okay. I want to learn.
So June 15th is the date of that program.
Okay. So that's a Tuesday, and you'll send out the invitation to everyone?
Yes.
And everyone on the commission, or is it just?
Anyone who would like to attend is welcome to attend. The nice thing about doing it on Zoom is I don't have to limit it.
Perfect.
And when I sent out the question on the listserv, I had several librarians come back telling me that they would like to attend the program.
Oh, that's great.
So it may be open to a wider audience.
Oh, that sounds wonderful. Thank you so much for following up on that. Was it Mary who had asked about it?
Well, Mary and actually Kent, I think, was interested.
Oh, that's fabulous. Well, thank you for getting the ball rolling on that, both with the question and with the follow-up. So does anyone have any questions for Gail on her report?
And my last page is basically a Fund 7 budget for next year. And the numbers look pretty similar to what we have this year, with the exception of the grant.
Oh, that's great. Thank you. I hadn't scrolled down to see that. So any questions for Gail?
This is Beth. I had a quick one.
Okay.
When is, I think it's awesome that you're eligible to receive the over $17,000. When from the ARPA grant, do you have an idea when you would be getting it or be able to use it?
It's a quick turnaround. We have to have the application in by June 30th. We will get the money if approved in July. And we have to spend it by March of 2022.
That's
So,
fabulous. Thank you.
Fairly quick turnaround.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
that's exciting. And you have some great ideas with it too. So fingers crossed.
Yes.
Very much so. Any other questions? Okay, if not, moving on to committee reports. John, do you have anything from the Friends? You're muted. Still muted. John, Gail, you don't have him muted on your end, do you?
I'm
Here we
sorry.
go. Here we
I
go.
got
Okay, we got you back.
Okay. Nothing really to report, but I do want to mention that the Gales Ferry Library, the bookseller, because we haven't had any meetings at the library during the pandemic, the bookseller has been using every table in the cellar. And of course, Gail just mentioned that July 1st, they're going to start offering meetings to the public. So we have tons of CDs and nonfiction books and fiction books. So it would be a great help if everyone went down to the bookseller and bought a lot of books so we could get that all cleared out before the meeting start on July 1st. That's it.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Yep.
Any old business? Okay. As far as new business, I want to hear people's thoughts about meeting in person for the commission meetings.
No problem.
This is Beth. Zoom has been really handy for me, but hybrid wouldn't be a bad thing.
Well, we can't start until July. So it wouldn't be
True.
until July anyway, right?
July.
Yeah, what would be the timing? Sorry.
Given that it's a library commission meeting, we could do it in June if you were interested.
At Bill,
And-
Gales Ferry.
At Bill. There's a town hall negotiating committee that's going to use our meeting room tomorrow. So I'm dipping my foot in the water little by little.
Yeah, it's interesting. How about, and I want to sort of just hear everyone's thoughts. So Ralph, what are you thinking?
Well, we can meet in person immediately as far as I'm concerned. At the same time, we've been spoiled with Zoom. And so is there any reason why Zoom can't always be available for participants or members to meet?
Yeah, and I think that's the hybrid model that both Gail and Beth had mentioned. And it's even pre-pandemic. I know that was one of the questions that Brian had raised, and we, I believe, put it into our bylaws that we could have a hybrid meeting. I mean, we didn't call it that at the time because that language didn't really exist, but I think there may have been a restriction as far as voting. Gail, do you know if that
No, it was more the equipment. It used a phone line, but actually Zoom kind of is a lot easier than doing a phone line. We could set up a projector with the Zoom on the screen. We did a Bill Library Association meeting that way last October.
Okay, and it looks like Kent had a question as well.
We're doing hybrid. We're doing a hybrid meeting at the senior center, the senior commission. We meet in person, and they do have a pretty nice facility set up that Gail, you might contact Scott and see if you could arrange. I don't know if it's open at night. I'm not sure. I think they leave around 5:30, 6:30 or something. So maybe a question on the evening, but we have our senior commission meeting there at 1:30. And we do have it as a hybrid, and Scott has the facility set up very nicely. Works very well.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is Cheryl. Yeah, this is Cheryl. I was going to mention the same thing, but I think the first hybrid meeting they had was at the senior commission was very rough in that at least myself on the phone had a very difficult time hearing people. There was a lot of background static. At the second meeting they did a hybrid, they passed around a microphone and they ran off of a microphone, and that was much better. But the first one, it was almost worse than it was pretty. The first one was pretty rough.
Oh, that's helpful.
When we
And
did-
Cheryl, just what? Oh, go ahead.
When we did it last fall, we could set up the laptop with the projector, and anyone who was speaking stepped up in front of the laptop, so they were on the camera for anyone at home. And that seemed to work out pretty well.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sure that would work out really well. At the library commission, it was just, there were a bunch of, sorry, at the senior commission, there were a bunch of people around a table. And I'm not sure exactly where the microphone was, but it resulted in not being able to hear hardly anyone. The first
And
one, but with passing around the microphone worked really well.
Thank you. That's helpful. And Cheryl, what are your thoughts? Would you, or do you feel like coming back, being hybrid, outside? What are, like, I'm gonna call on everyone because I really want everyone to have a say.
For myself and my personal situation right now, a hybrid is better for me. But whatever, I'll make whatever is decided work.
No, we're gonna make it work for everyone. That's, but I appreciate the flexibility. Barbara, how about, if you said something prior, I didn't catch it, so.
No, I'm fine with meeting in person, hybrid, whatever. I'm flexible as well.
Okay, and Brian, did I get your input?
No, you didn't. I have no preference, Rebecca.
Okay,
I don't
and did I
either.
miss? Go
I
ahead,
have no
sorry.
preference.
Okay, and am I missing anyone? And I'm my personal preference. I have to admit I like the idea of hybrid. I'm a little nervous about going back in, and I don't know why. I mean, maybe if with a mask I'd be fine, but yeah, I like the idea of having an option and easing my way back in. So, and let's see, Gail, did you happen to did you happen to talk to Ellen? Do you know how it would be for her with minutes?
She did not get back to me on that, so no, I haven't had a chance to have her weigh in. I can send you an email.
Well, let me ask, if we do a hybrid, she could do either. And are you comfortable with that? I mean, it seems like we're pretty split 50-50 of what people's comfort level is.
I'm fine doing the hybrid. I mean, it's fairly easy to set up at the library, and I think we can make it work.
I would be really grateful if you'd be willing to do that, because I really do think it sort of meets everyone's needs, and we can, see how June goes. And, there's always the potential of, some summer ones being canceled, and, hopefully by, after summer, we'll really be in a way better place, and actually we're in a good place too. So, but if for our next one, if we could do hybrid, would that meet everyone's needs?
And I do have to, I understand that I have to let the town clerk know ahead of time. So I'll run this by her tomorrow, if that's what we
Okay.
want to do, so she knows.
Okay, that would be perfect. And if there are some issues that we didn't address that are concerns, let us know, and we can see what we need to do next.
Okay,
We don't need to vote on that or anything, do we?
I don't think so. I think,
Yeah, I wouldn't think so either.
yeah.
Was there any other questions or comments anyone had, or are people comfortable with the June meeting that's hybrid?
It's
Well,
really,
the
it's
June
really
meeting
your
is
call,
gonna be,
Rebecca. You run the meetings. So it's
Yeah,
really-
no, I know. Well, but I mean, I
Well, I'm
I would
just
love it to be
saying that
hybrid.
You don't need a motion.
Say that again?
You don't need a motion.
Yeah.
You got the
All right.
input, you run the meeting, so you make the decision.
All right. So June's going to be hybrid,
Yep.
and I appreciate that everyone, is coming at this from different perspectives. So, and we'll just.
This is
Go
Ralph,
ahead.
just clarification. The next meeting is going to be a Zoom meeting, right?
No, well, so the next meeting would be in June.
Yep.
And we're saying that some people will be at the library and some people will be like zooming into it.
Okay, that's fine. I understand. That's
Okay.
good.
Yeah, so a hybrid being, yeah. So, and that was the functionality that you were able to make work, Gail, right?
Yes, yep.
Okay. All right. Wanted to make sure I understood that. So yeah, so basically next meeting, we'll have the option of whether it's in person or if you want to call into it, and it's whatever your comfort level is. Because, I'm conflicted as is everyone. It would be lovely to see everyone, but from a distance, so we'll see how that all goes. But yeah, so that will be the plan for June, and then we'll reevaluate for the meeting after that. So, is there any other new business? Okay, it's funny. It's for some reason the Zoom won't let me like toggle as well between participants. So I just want to make sure I don't see any raised hands. Okay. All right. So hearing nothing, I'm going to call or ask for a motion to adjourn the meeting at 7:42. Could I get a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Second.
And when that was, all right, I think that was Carol that moved it and John that seconded. And so the meeting is adjourned. So
Yeah.
Barbara, thank you so much for taking the minutes, and thank you everyone for being here. And it's, good to see your faces and phone numbers.
Beth,
Thank
if you
you.
could stay on for a minute, I have a question for you.
Me, Beth?
Beth, yes.
Okay, no
Hello?
problem.
Good night,
Yeah,
everyone.
and
Good
Ken,
night,
thank you for being here.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Hi.
And Gail, I will hop off in a second as well, but
Okay,
Beth,
okay.
I just wanted to say I'm so sorry about your mom, and I hope you're doing okay.
That's for you, Beth.
I think, Beth, you might be muted. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So my question for you, Beth, I know you've been to California recently, and I'm heading out there this Friday.
I'm going to hop off the call. You guys take care. Okay.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
thanks, Rebecca. Talk to you
Yeah,
soon.
thank you.
Hi, do you, are we still being recorded?
No, I turned that off. I basically wanted to know if there were any requirements of getting tested when you went to California.
I don't recall.
Okay,
But I think there might have been, but now when I went out there, not as many people had, double vaccinations.
Right.
So if I remember right, I really didn't care. So,
okay.
but and if people need to get vaccinations while they're there, actually Sue set one up for me, so I was able to do my second shot out there.
Oh,
But
that's good.
and it was a matter of finding it. But I think it's on the California website. It said it'll tell you what you have to do when you get there.
Okay.
Mine was more me coming back to Connecticut and going to work.
Mhm.
So by the time I had gotten back, it was, it passed 14 days after getting my second shot. So I wasn't worried about anything.
Okay.
Yeah, if you want me to, I can look it up.
No, I've had my 2 shots, so both my husband and I have had them. I just didn't know if they had any requirement for testing. I looked on the airline website.
Yeah.
And they didn't say anything there, so I thought I would just ask you since I knew you had been there recently.
Well, I know everything is like really opening up this week in
Yes,
California.
I
So
see that they're lifting the mask mandate on June 15th. I'll be back by then, but that's okay.
I think, things are changing like weekly, if not daily.
Really,
Um,
yes.
So, and there's so much confusion about it. But if all else fails, plead ignorance.
Right.
It's like, it changed since I left, but where are you going?
Santa Cruz.
Nice.